how you can find what is the predictability. If you make a prediction out of this model, the average error size would be about 0.010. And when you started with 9 parameters, the size of error was same. You have reduced the model, you have reduced the number of parameters from 9 to 3, and there is no loss in terms of the size of error of prediction. हो गया? Any other question, please?
Sir, why R square is irrelevant in time scale?
It is always over-exaggerated. Even if you take the consumption for Pakistan and GDP for India, you will find 99% plus. Yes. Because the series are trending, there is a trend in the GDP and there is a trend in consumption. And if you take the data for Pakistan, and if you take data for India, both of the series are trending, you will find very high R square. Okay. So now I think this is clear how you will reduce the model and how you can make a parsimonious model out of this. Look, I will tell you, I want to give you one more example. Basically, I want to make a model for inflation. And we have this WDI data, and as I have told you, there are many theories for inflation. There is no single theory for inflation. For example, one of the theory is monetarist theory, like what is said by Milton Friedman, the inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomena. This means that inflation is depending on only on monetary variables. And then there is Phillips curve theory which says if you want to increase the GDP, inflation will also go up. So this is again giving you some explanation. And then there are other theories as well. For example, what is happening today in the world, you are seeing that inflation is international phenomena. Whatever is happening in the global market is affecting the local inflation. So that is saying that the import value of imports and the exchange rate should play the role in order to determine your level of inflation in the domestic economy. So there are three models. Basically there are many models, but we are going to illustrate with three models. So let me get the data for Australia. Okay. I will try to get the data on money supply growth, interest rate, GDP growth, and then import value index, and then the exchange rate. This is the broad money growth rate. Let me copy this data. Then we should have deposit interest rate here. The data is very short, but I want also GDP growth rate. Then I want to get the import value index and exchange rate. Exchange rate would be available here with the name official exchange rate. Let me try to find these variables if these are available. Import value index. And finally, I want to have the data on official exchange rates. Now let me copy the title row as well. Let me take that log, the transpose of all this thing. Okay, so some of the series are, I don't have the data for import value index before 95, so I can use data after this only.
So we are left with only 24 and 5 years.
Yes.
Is it okay? Doctor?
We can illustrate the technique. If you are doing research for your MPhil or PhD thesis, then you have to try to get the data from some other source so that you may have more reliable results. But this time I just want to illustrate how the things can be done.
So is the quality of the idea to run with small data, to small sample size?
Yes.
I said is the quality of the idea.
That you can run it on small samples. This is not true. Basically, when you are taking ARDL, this says that you can put the legs of independent and dependent variables. If you have, for example, 4 variables and you are putting 2 legs of every variable, it will become 4 multiplied by 3, 12. 12 number of independent variables. This becomes implausible if you have small number of observations. But look, my objective is to illustrate how the things are done. So we can illustrate it even if it is not giving me a sensible model. But when you are going to do a serious research for your MPhil or PhD thesis, you should try to get the data as much as possible.
But in the case of limited data in terms of missing variables, is it possible to interpolate?
This is what we have discussed yesterday. Basically, suppose an observation is missing and you are going to estimate it. This is basically subject to some kind of uncertainty. Some kind of error is possible. And if you are estimating two numbers, the possible limit of inaccuracy is now doubled. And if you are estimating 10 numbers, it will become tenfold. Right? Whenever you are estimating numbers by yourself, this is introducing inaccuracy. So if you want to keep the inaccuracy smallest possible, you should try to get the data from some source instead of estimating it by your own. But suppose you have a series in which there are 50 observations and there is only one observation which is missing. If you drop the whole variable, this will introduce bias. In this case, you should estimate the observation. If you have in the center, you can just take average. If you have at the end, then you can also use some arithmetics, which I will tell you later. Anyway, this first variable is broad money growth. इसको मैं mg कह देता हूँ, money growth in money supply. And then this variable is